Benedicta of Denmark is undoubtedly one of the least known members of the royal family. His role in the Danish royal family has always been in the background, leaving all prominence to his older sister, Queen Margaret of Denmark, and supporting her younger sister Anne-Marie of Greece, especially in her final months as the extinguished husband of nearly 60 years, King Constantine of Greece. Despite her prudence, Benedicta of Denmark never neglected her obligations to the crown of her country and was always considered the most regal of the three daughters born to King Frederick IX and Queen Ingrid. Benedicta was born April 29, 1944 in the palace of Frederick VIII, in the palace complex Amalienborg in the Danish capital. His birth came 4 years after the birth of the first daughter of the then princes, Princess Margaret. At the time Margaret was born in 1940, Denmark was still under Salic Law, so the Danish people were anxious to have a second son as king, a boy who might be the rightful heir. But this was not to be. In 1946 the couple had their third daughter, Maria, and despite the joy of her arrival after Denmark's liberation and the end of World War II, the Danish people continued to show their concern, for all indications were that Princess Ingrid would have no more children. A year later, Prince Federico ascended the throne and the process of repealing the Salic Law was initiated, ending in 1953. In 1972 King Federico died and Margaret ascended the throne, becoming the first woman in 500 years to assume the crown. Princess Benedicta grew up in Copenhagen and first attended a private school and then was sent to various boarding schools in Switzerland and England. Her paternal grandfather was King Christian X and her grandmother Queen Alexandrine of Denmark, while her maternal grandparents were King Gustav Adolf of Sweden and his first wife Queen Margaret of Sweden. The three sisters grew up in Frederick VIII's apartments at Amalienborg and at Fredensborg Palace, and spent their summers at Grassen Palace in Jutland. Her relationship with her sister Margaret was distant in childhood and adolescence because of the difference of 4 years and the training received by the one who would one day be queen. With Anna Maria, however, complicity and good harmony were evident as they were little girls. Benedicta is 4 years younger than me, and that's a big age difference when you're almost an adult. 2 years later Anna Maria was born, and they bonded in a very different way. Although we grew up in a house where we lived together daily, it was actually a long distance, Queen Marguerite explained in her biography, published in 2019. Although Margaret was the only one of the three to attend university, she graduated in prehistoric archaeology at Cambridge and studied politics at Aarhus University, the Sorbonne and the London School of Economics. Benedicta attended fashion and design courses in Copenhagen when he was in his 20s. In 1966. Benedicta met her future husband at the wedding of Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands. He was Prince Ricardo von Sayn-Wittgenstein-Broberg of one of the most important dynasties in Germany, son of Princess Margareta, of Swedish origin, great friend of Queen Ingrid and Prince Gustav Albrecht, who died at the front during the Second World War. Their relationship was not greeted favorably by the Danish people, who 20 years after the end of the Nazi occupation were unwilling to accept the marriage of who was then second in line to the throne, to a German. The couple endured several months of negotiations with the government and the royal family, and finally it was decided that, in the event that Benedicta was the direct heir to the throne, the couple and their future children would live in Denmark and he would renounce his German citizenship. The wedding took place on February 3, 1968 in the Church of Fredensborg Palace, located on the shores of Lake Esrum. Princess Margaret had already married the French diplomat Count Henri de la Borde de Monts on June 10, 1967 at Holmen Church in Copenhagen and was pregnant with their first child. Prince Federico was born in May 1968, so Benedicta and her husband already had a free hand to live in Germany and settled there at Berleburg Castle in the North Rhine, owned by the Sayn-Wittgensteins. The couple had 3 children, Gustav, Alejandra and Natalia, none of whom figured in the inheritance rights because they had grown up in Germany. The princess's constant trips to Denmark to fulfill official obligations meant that her marriage was not as idyllic as expected. Benedicta always wanted to support her sister in her ascension to the throne and always did her duty as princess and regent in the event that Queen Margaret and Prince Frederick left the country. For her, her commitments, now centered mainly on charitable acts, always came first. The disciplined and serious husband once remarked that they are both very different. "Sometimes I'm surprised we have children," he said in an interview. Prince Richard, nicknamed the Prince of Rubber Boots because of his simplicity, he passed away suddenly in March 2017, and on that day Benedicta was in Denmark, so she had to return urgently to Germany, although she participates in charity events and accompanied her sister Margaret to some important events. Her 3 children live far from royal splendor. Benedicta has always shown her loyalty to her older sister, even in the difficult moments a few months ago, when Queen Margaret announced her decision to strip the children of Prince Joachim, her youngest son, of their princely title. "I think it's certainly hard for them at first, it's pretty clear, but my sister makes wise decisions. Just like a queen. Think about the future, not the here and now. I think that's the most important thing," he said, showing his support for his sister. The princess is committed to the strictest of monarchies and is even critical of the waste that some royal houses make by buying couture clothes for her, which is an unnecessary waste. "I don't think our role is to act like movie actresses. They taught me to buy quality and that both the fabric and the model would last for many years. I would never buy a skirt for one season." The 3 sisters often get together for important holidays, like Christmas, and always spend a few days together every summer at Grassen Palace, the royal residence in Jutland, where they love to walk and share confessions. Last year they were also seen on the royal yacht Dannebrog, which spent a few days along the coast of Sonderborg Bay.